Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episodes of Back to Basics. And if you're watching this on Natural Gut Relief, please invite a friend in. And if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and share this with a friend. My name is Dr. Vivian Asamoah. I'm an integrative gastroenterologist in Houston, Texas. And every Thursday evening, we have an amazing guest sharing anything about tips to stay healthy, healthy nutrition, and natural solutions, right? Natural solutions that are at your own tips of your own fingers. And tonight is no exception. We have the amazing Dr. Anita Lwanga with us. She is an internal medicine physician in Canada. She's going to tell you a little bit more about her practice, but I thought she would be the best person to give us some recommendations about how to maintain a balanced diet while traveling, and also even during sort of like traveling during the upcoming season, right? The fall is coming through, and we know we're going to be going away for Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatnot. I want to hear everything she has to say. Welcome, welcome, and thank you for joining us, Dr. Anita.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Asamoah. In terms of who I am, as you mentioned, my name is Anita Lwanga. I'm a general internist. I did a little bit of training in geriatric medicine, and geriatric medicine is the care of adults that are 65 years and older, though that's not my practice exclusively. So, as general internists, we take care of people with any kind of problem with their heart, their lungs, their kidneys. If they need additional support by seeing another specialist, for example, if my patients have stomach problems, I'll refer them to Dr. Asamoah to manage all of that.
There
So,
you go.
my practice is based in Saskatchewan, which is in Western Canada. And in terms of finding me, if patients are watching from Western Canada, if you have your family medicine doctor and you need additional support, your family medicine doctor can write a referral for you to see me. In terms of social media, I'm all over social media. I'm on TikTok as I think Dr. Lwanga, or I'm on Instagram as Lwanga, Lwamgamd, and so forth. Dr. Asamoah will probably provide the links for all my social media sites. So for
Yeah.
those of you guys who want to improve your health or just learn more about, different medical conditions, you're welcome to follow me on social media.
Awesome. We are going to post all that information in the comments below. Absolutely. I follow her. And, when we train as gastroenterologists, we start with internal medicine first. But when you go into a subspecialty, you start forgetting a lot of your basic internal medicine. And I said, I love Dr. Luanga's stuff because she talks about everything. And that's what an internal medicine doctor does. They dive deep into all the medical conditions. So she's talking about myeloma, she's talking about cardiovascular disease, then she's talking about pulmonary fibrosis. It's just such a wonderful place to get a perspective on different parts of internal medicine. And this is the kind of doctor you want to see before you're just thrown to a specialist, right? Because they can start off digging in, trying to get to like, why is this happening? Is it related to a medication? What are the environmental factors? And then when they're really suspicious of a diagnosis that is beyond their level of care that requires a specialist, then they refer you. But they usually get to the diagnosis before the specialist gets to the diagnosis. They have an idea of what's going on. So please follow her. I mean, I think we talk about Google, Dr. Google, and, being out there. She's kind of like a Dr. Google, really, because I think she talks about every aspect of medicine, which is so refreshing because so many of us have niched ourselves. But it's wonderful to be able to go and look through her YouTube channels and just see everything that she's posted. So many interesting topics. And I'm sure that one of them will pique your interest. And so, the perfect person to talk about nutrition because she's a huge nutrition advocate. It's played a strong role in her personal life. I want her to share a little bit about that journey in terms of why she feels comfortable discussing nutrition and lifestyle and exercise and whatnot. Because she shared a little bit about it with me before we jumped on the call. So, Dr. Anita, tell us a little bit more about your journey with nutrition and life in general.
Well, my interest in nutrition started when I was fairly young. I used to be a competitive gymnast, so I would experiment on myself. I would see, okay, if I'm eating this, how's my performance? I'd experiment with my sleep, and kind of see how that would improve what I'm doing. And to be honest, I probably was not as healthy as I should have been. Though, of course, when you have more knowledge, you do better. But at that level, as like a 13, 14-year-old, I did the best I could. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't drink Coke. okay, I should have snacks if I'm training for 4 hours. So I did the best I could with what I knew. I ended up doing my undergraduate in exercise and health physiology. So the umbrella, I guess, background would have been kinesiology, but I niched down to exercise and health physiology because I had an idea I wanted to be a physician. So in exercise and health physiology, you learn how the body responds to exercise, how the heart rate, the lungs, and so forth respond to exercise. And you also learn about how the body functions at a basic level. So this gave me a great foundation when I went into medical school. And as a physician, I used some of what I learned in exercise and health physiology, specifically exercise recommendations and exercise prescription, in my day-to-day practice as I, treat my patients. During my undergraduate, I also had the opportunity to study nutrition for about 1 year. So my knowledge was rudimentary, but I think more than what I got in medical school. And I was telling Dr. Vivian, when we're training, we're so stressed out. We're on our feet all day long. So during residency, unfortunately, most of us end up losing weight, and we're like, I'm good. At least for me, I was like, I can eat a chocolate bar. My habits were terrible despite my background because we're so stressed out. So I'd have like a latte for dinner. I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to bed. Or
You're like in survival mode. Just get something in me and that's it, right? Uh-huh.
yes, I'd have like my chocolate bar in my pocket. Like, this is my breakfast. So I had bad habits. So when I started work, I know. When I started working, I'm like, I need to be more healthy. I'm telling my patients eat vegetables. I need to be more healthy. And despite, starting to exercise again, I was probably doing the wrong kind of workouts for my lifestyle. I was doing these HIIT, high interval intensity workouts before my night shift, my 12-hour night shift. So this messed up my cortisol levels. And I was eating like bigger meals, rounded meals that are healthier, but probably the wrong combination at the wrong time. So I put on quite a bit of weight. And I was frustrated. I'm like, how can I be working out more, eating healthier, and gaining weight? So I ended up getting a nutrition coach. And he told me the things that I knew, but I didn't know how to apply them. And I was able to lose 30 pounds with less effort in a period of about 5 to 6 months. And I was shocked. I was shocked because I'm like, I know this stuff, but I don't know it. And it's much easier. And another thing that also adds to this topic of eating while traveling, I was a cross-border worker. So I'm actually a Canadian citizen. So before the pandemic and during the pandemic, I was actually traveling back and forth in between Canada and the US. And I basically lived in a hotel for like 3 years while working in the US.
Wow.
Over time I learned, okay, you can eat healthy while you're traveling, but you have to be very mindful. So I'm going to share that's my background and my experience that informs what I'm going to talk about today.
So you're the perfect person. This is absolutely wonderful. So it's going to help a lot of people who travel for work, and go for long periods of time. You have some people you see at the airport all the time because they constantly are, spending 2 days here, coming back here. Some people who drive, so they can only get what they find en route, right? As they stop, and there's not a lot of great places to get healthy food in the States, right? And then we can also touch a little bit on when you're going to visit, if it's not for work, but when you're going to visit friends and family and they don't have the pantry that you have, what do you get into? So let's dive right into it. So, what are your top recommendations for patients to maintain a balanced diet while traveling, especially when the healthy eating options are limited? What would you say are the major things?
I think the first thing I'll say is plan. The reason I say plan is when we don't plan and we're hungry, we're desperate, we'll eat whatever.
Mhm.
So, for example, if you know that my goal is to eat X number of servings of vegetables, X servings of protein, and then I'm going to have my, cheat or fun meal on X day. If you already have that in mind, because I mean, we all need to enjoy our food. And especially when holidays are coming up, you can not, especially socially, refuse to partake of certain food. But if you already have the plan, you already know, okay, on Saturday, we're going to go to XYZ's house and we're going to eat this. But then at breakfast, I'm going to eat my protein. I'm going to eat this much vegetables. Have that plan and stick to it. And basically think about it as keeping a promise to yourself, or at least that's what helps me. Because, especially as women, we give so much to everyone else.
Yeah.
And it's very easy for us to be like, well, I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not keeping promises to myself. I'm keeping promises to XYZZ, and
Right.
he's taking care of me. But this is a way of taking care of yourself and
It
keeping
is.
a promise to yourself.
It is. It is.
A bit strict. You feel, at least for me, I feel like I took care of myself when I said I was going to eat this on this day, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy because I kept the promise to myself.
Hmm.
So
Gratifying and rewarding, I think, when you're able to stick to that plan. So let's talk a little bit more concretely. So I, for example, travel. I don't. I'm giving you an example. So I travel for work and I have to drive long distances. What will that planning look like? So maybe it's a 3 hour drive to another city, and then I get there and I'm going right into meetings and I'm staying at a hotel. And so, or maybe an 8 hour drive, a longer drive, right? What will that planning look like?
So I'll give you an example. Say, for example, at home your typical breakfast. At least for me, I'm saying omelets. I have an omelet with like 11 egg whites, lots of vegetables, and then I have like blueberries. And then I know my lunch is going to be like vegetables and meat. This is my thing. I don't like to think about my food. Very simple. I
Mhm,
know my snacks are supposed to be high in protein, so I usually have like collagen water with
mhm,
Mia or Crystal Light, and then dinner, same thing, vegetables with a source of fat and meat.
mhm.
Um, so I think one trip I was doing 3 days, and I was like, let me pre-cook my food, put it in my cooler, depending on who you are, and what your budget is. If you want to
Mhm.
save money, this is a great way to save money. Pre-cook your stuff, put it in your Tupperware containers, and then you're going for 3 days and you want to save your money, you can have your food in your cooler. As soon as you arrive at your hotel, take everything out and put it in your fridge. So
Yep.
you already know these are going to be my meals. Everything is in the containers. It's going to save you so much time, so much energy, so much money. If you want to be a little bit more flexible than that, say, for example, okay, I brought my lunches and I brought my dinners, but I want to eat my breakfast out. Pick
Right.
the place to go for breakfast. If it's going to be IHOP,
Yeah.
that like something that's very accessible, or
Yeah.
even I'm trying to think something more accessible. Okay, Starbucks. There's always a Starbucks
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but if you're gonna tell yourself, okay, I eat my omelette, so my go-to breakfast when I'm driving by Starbucks is gonna be those red pepper egg white bites. Okay, I'm
Right.
gonna get 4 of those, and
Okay.
then I'm gonna get straight black coffee.
Okay.
Then you try to kind of make whatever you're ordering similar to what you're ordering, and then
Hmm.
just have that plan. And if people are like, hey, we're gonna go here, you'll be like, that's cool, I'm gonna grab my stuff, I'll
Yeah.
meet you there. But this
Yeah.
is my plan, I'm sticking to my plan, I'm sticking to my budget. Then
Excellent.
that helps you not fall too far out of line from what you planned and what you plan to do every day. And even same thing with the collagen water. Most of the
Yeah.
time, I'm like, I ain't got time. I don't remember to bring my water bottle with me.
Yeah.
Just put your protein powder in your bag,
Yeah.
and you can find a store and get a water bottle, and just put whatever you need in there to make the protein
Yeah.
supplement.
Yeah. So excellent. So in terms of, I like the planning, but not being super strict. That would be more me, right? I'll bring my dinner and bring my lunch and then opt to have breakfast, but be selective in the menu, what you're going to choose when you go to this place. Don't just have that pumpkin bread and that banana bread that I love so much at Starbucks. Be selective. They have options for you, high protein options that are filling, that you can decide to do. So I love that option. Now, so what about uh I'm going to visit friends and family. I'll be spending about a week during Thanksgiving. It's also a festive time. So there's going to be lots of food, lots of places all the time. How do you plan? Or do you just give up and be like, it is what it is. I'm just going to eat whatever I'm going to eat. How do you plan, Doc?
To be honest, I think it's a bit more tricky when you're visiting friends and family, because we love our people. We don't want to offend them.
Yeah.
And you have that auntie or that mom that's always saying, "Oh, you lost weight, eat more," and they put, and
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh, no, no." It's very hard to kind of maneuver that. But I think if you think about what you routinely eat, I'm kind of a
Mhm.
person that realized I probably do better with routine,
Mhm.
and then try when you're eating at other people's houses to select foods that are going to be similar to that. So I think, like, just think of our cultures, African culture. If I brought food to my people's place, they'd look at me like,
That
"What's wrong
we
with you?"
cannot do that. No, we cannot do that. You will be
Yeah,
shunned. You will be
yeah,
shunned.
yes. So maybe you can bring your protein powder. Sure, they'll be like, "Okay, sure, that's fine."
Yeah.
And then, no, okay, two of my meals are going to be, at least for me, I have like 5 meals. Two of my meals is going to be like my collagen or protein supplement. And then you
Okay.
have 3 meals left. So for breakfast, if they cook everything, scrambled eggs, toast, pancakes, sausages, all
Yeah.
the vegetables, you can say to yourself, okay, I usually have my omelet and my vegetables. So
Yeah.
this is not exactly the eggs that I make, but I'm going to take eggs and I'm going to take vegetables. I'll skip the pancakes. I'll skip the other stuff, the sausages.
Gotcha.
And just
Hmm.
tell yourself, I'm going to try modify my diet. Lunch, they have like a feast of everything,
Yeah.
all like everything that you would eat
Yeah.
at dinner. Then tell yourself, okay, usually at lunch I eat my vegetables and my meat, my source of fat. So I can buy myself some avocado. I'm going to eat salad. I'm going to eat extra greens. And then I'm going to pick, like, if they have turkey there, pick the white meat.
Hmm.
I'm done. And make
Yeah.
sure I load up on that before I'm tempted with the other things like plantain.
Right. Right. So it's almost as though you have to have a little bit of a strategy, right? And this strategy is being selective in the choices of protein versus carbs and fats, making sure you have that good combination of healthy fats with your protein, and definitely servings of your vegetables. So you kind of want to make sure you pick that out first, right? Now, when it comes to portion control, sometimes this is my problem, right? I just want to keep going back and back. So, what's your recommendation? Are there certain food types we should eat first? Are there some that we should eat more of? What's your recommendation in terms of how to maintain portion control? Or what should we do to distract ourselves just so we don't keep going back?
To be honest, I'm not a person who's ever been good at portion control. I don't measure out, I don't weigh anything. I just kind of, go with the flow. But I was talking to Dr. Vivian about how I had a nutrition coach, and he just told me vegetables, just eat whatever, like four
Yeah.
handfuls, whatever.
Load
So
up on that. Load up. Okay.
load up. And then protein, he said a palm and a half. So a palm and a half of a chicken breast, that's a lot of protein.
That
So by the
is.
time
That's a lot.
Yeah, by the time you have your vegetables and all your protein, you're going to be pretty full. And then you have like your portion of fat, whether it's half an avocado, a handful of nuts, or if they put probably oil on the vegetables, that might be enough of your fat.
Yeah.
So the portion control part comes in between the way you're eating. So if you start eating more in the morning, if you've
Yeah.
eaten a high protein meal in the morning, all your vegetables, at lunchtime it's going to be easier to control yourself. And same with dinner. If you already have, you're keeping well hydrated, you're eating enough protein, by the time dinner comes around, I'm not as hungry. So making sure you're consistent with your meals, making sure you're already getting enough protein at the beginning of the day and enough fiber at the beginning of the day, it's much easier not to be hungry at the end of the day. The problem comes when we starve ourselves in the morning and then we lose all self control at the end of the day.
So that's interesting that you say when we starve ourselves in the morning. You must have a different take on intermittent fasting, because a lot of people are intermittent fasting till maybe 2 o'clock and doing a 14, 16, or 18-hour stretch. What are your thoughts on that? It sounds like it may not be well suited for every body type, right? Every metabolic body type. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. So I have mixed feelings about intermittent fasting. To be honest, I do fast partially out of convenience
Hmm.
and also for spiritual reasons. But I
Hmm.
find that it does, for me, it doesn't necessarily help with weight control.
Okay.
I think everyone kind of has to do what is right for themselves. But then,
Hmm.
in terms of my coach's philosophy, and even with my background with exercise physiology, we recommend that if people are trying to build muscle and or maintain muscle, they eat small meals regularly, because every
Hmm.
time you're eating a small meal, you're spiking growth hormone. Growth
Hmm.
hormone actually helps you maintain your muscle mass, and
Hmm.
with those small meals you're less likely to be hungry. So I
Hmm.
think you have to decide why you're fasting
Hmm.
and what your end goals are. If you're trying to lose weight and maintain muscle at the same time, fasting might not be the right thing. It might be better for you to eat small meals. And then going back to the way we organize our meals, it's usually better to eat more in the morning. So my coach told me, eat breakfast like a queen, lunch like a princess, dinner like a pauper.
Upper,
So I
yeah.
actually found when I ate more in the morning, by dinner time I'm actually not hungry, and I have to
Yeah.
intentionally tell myself I'm eating dinner because I need the protein, I need the nutrients. This is like medicine for my body. I'm not skipping this meal just because I don't feel hungry.
Right,
It's much
right, right.
more of a
It's I
routine.
have to nourish my body with it. I totally agree with you. I will say that where I do see intermittent fasting playing a very positive role and seeing really great outcomes for my patients with prediabetes, so insulin resistance, and my patients with fatty liver, where they're really trying to change that metabolic curve, right? And I do see that intermittent fasting really helps them, as long as, of course, when they actually do start eating, they're also eating the right types of foods, right? The vegetables, the fiber, and the protein. Excellent. So if I had three um, three drumsticks, three chicken drumsticks, would that be a palm and a half, or would I have to have two? Because I think I usually.
Yeah, I think I would suggest a small tweak. The drumsticks is the dark meat; it has a little bit more fat in it. So
Oh,
pick the breast. So
breast.
me, I cheat. It's probably more than a palm and a half. I probably end up doing two palms, but I'd pick like when I'm packing my food, I usually pick like one whole breast and
Okay.
a half, or a breast and three quarters, depending on my mood that day. And I usually
Okay.
don't end up finishing that with a bunch of broccoli
Right.
and maybe half an avocado or a handful of nuts. That's like my
Okay.
go-to.
Okay. So stick more with, of course. Okay. So do the breast, and you can go. The breast is quite a lot. Like if you take a whole breast, that's definitely okay. Got it. Okay. So I will make that change. I will definitely make that change. You mentioned the collagen water. Drink it, and so hydration is super important. And for you, it's kind of a snack and a food as well because you're adding the protein in there. Tell us a little bit about how your recommendations for hydration while traveling, like when you're having these long flights, and also when you get to your different locations where different drinks are, especially with this holiday season. How would you what would you recommend to our listeners out there?
So at baseline, when you're eating more fiber, you definitely need to keep very hydrated. Otherwise, you'll end up extremely constipated.
Yes. Yes.
So when I changed my diet and started eating more fibers, that's one of the things that I found. It's very important to stay very hydrated. So I probably have like my snack is like I think it's like a 2 liter bottle of water. That's ginormous,
Hmm.
but it's a great way to stay hydrated. And I probably put this is not everyone has to follow this. This is just me. I don't like to think too hard about my food. I think as physicians, you can probably relate. We make so many decisions in one day. I don't want to start thinking where am I going to find my protein, like which protein powder is this, that. I'm like, I ain't got time for that. So I just picked a brand of collagen powder. I put 2 scoops in there. That ends up being about 20 grams of protein and less than 100 calories.
Uh-huh.
It's the goal. And then I chose Crystal Light or Mia to flavor it because I'm like, oh, I can't choke that stuff down. It tastes terrible.
Hmm. Hmm. What brand of collagen powder do you use?
There's a brand called Orgain. I think the founder is a physician,
Okay.
so not everyone should do their own research and pick a brand that they like.
Uh-huh.
I think Vital Proteins is also
Vital proteins. That's one I use. Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's also popular. I think it's a little bit more pricey. The reason I picked Orgain because it's like decently priced and I can buy like 10 containers at a time for less than $200, and I'm done for a couple of months.
That's good. That's awesome. Okay. So, how much water should you be drinking?
Good question. So I think in general, we should probably, depending on your size, aim for about at least 2.5 liters. Like as physicians, when we're restricting fluid, we tell our patients who have heart problems or kidney problems less than 2 liters. So those of us who don't have kidney or heart problems should probably be drinking more than that, maybe
Hmm.
2.5, 3 liters. If you're exercising, you definitely need to take that into account and add maybe another liter or so of water, depending on how much you're sweating. And then going back to traveling, if you're traveling by air,
Yeah.
definitely the air is very dry and we tend to lose more water as we're breathing out. So I think you just kind of have to adjust, and a way to adjust and take note of whether you need more water. When you go to the bathroom, is the urine dark? You definitely need more water. You
Yeah.
prefer to drink enough water so that your urine is clear. Tea and coffee, though some people may argue, this also counts towards our fluid balance. So this is just me personally. I like carrying my fluids around. I Some people might think this is crazy, but I'd probably drink easily 3 or 4 liters, actually 4 liters of fluid per day.
Hmm.
If I'm working out, I might end up adding five, but this is not a rule for everyone. You just take note of your body, how much you
Yeah.
sweat, and whether your
Yeah.
urine is clear, and add more fluid based on that. And if you have again heart problems or kidney problems, you should probably talk to your doctor and make sure that you're not undoing their work
Yeah.
by drinking too much
Too much
fluid.
fluid. Yeah. See how she's so good, so smart, so thorough. I love this. So, all right. Yeah. I'm taking it all for myself. Like I'm now saying like how do I apply all of this to my everyday. I do find it hard to drink water while at work because you're going from one room to the other. So even if I have, my stainless steel 2 liter jar out there, I notice that by the end of the day, I still haven't consumed even maybe a third or half of it because I can only take a quick sip and then I'm in the room. And I take a quick sip and I'm in the room. So, how do you make sure you get your 3 to 4 liters and even sometimes 5 liters in when you're working out during the day? How do you space it out? Are you intentional about how much you drink?
Oh my goodness, I'm telling all my secrets that are going to sound crazy.
I'm taking it all. Share everything.
So when I wake up, I'm one of those people who makes my coffee. So I probably have like 2 cups. Like I think it ends up being 1 liter of coffee because I have like two separate
So that's, for
cups.
those listening, that's too much, guys. Is this decaf or what is this? Is this decaf?
Regular.
Oh my gosh, wait, you drink a liter of coffee in the morning?
So it's 2 separate cups. So I need that kick in the morning. So that's why I know I'm probably
You-
drinking 5 liters because
Yeah, no, that's too much coffee. And this is my recommendation too. It's too much.
yeah. So I mean, if you're gonna drink tea, okay. But I'm the type of person who needs like my little boost of caffeine. So that's why I
Okay.
know I'm drinking 5 liters. And
Okay.
then the water, the collagen water that I'm talking about, I talked about my flask is about 2 liters, and I
Yeah.
have a sweet tooth. So from yeah, so for me, I'm so happy to drink that collagen water because it's like my dessert. So I'm like I get to have something sweet.
Yeah.
So like in between breakfast and lunch, I
Yeah.
have that 2 liter container, and as I'm walking around on the floors, people, I'm sure my colleagues think I'm extra because I'm carrying this big 2 liter thing, but I'm happy to be drinking that sweet thing. And then
All
by lunch,
throughout. Yeah.
mhm. By lunchtime, if I want, I might need an extra small half a cup of coffee. But I tried to switch to tea. I probably try to switch to tea. I know.
Okay.
That's why I'm like, don't do what I'm doing. But I need my caffeine, especially when it's a busy day in the hospital.
Okay.
And then another in between lunch and dinner, I have like another 2 liters of water with my
Okay.
collagen. So that's
Okay.
already like I talked about 2 liters plus 2 liters plus that's 5 liters.
That
And then
is. That
yeah,
is.
with
Yeah.
dinner, I'm probably having like another cup of at least before I go to bed, I have like another cup of decaf coffee. So that's like with milk and coffee, that's another
Okay.
1 liter.
Oh, but that's decaf though. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, I got you. Okay.
So I
So trying to drink 2 liters before lunchtime and then 2 liters after. And when do you actually stop drinking? Because obviously we don't want to be waking up in the middle of the night going to the restroom all the time. So when do you actually stop the hydration part?
I don't. I grew up
So,
drinking tea. Like my
okay.
parents are from like an African country that's a British colony. So
Yeah.
you have tea time in the morning, tea time at lunch, tea time before
I'm
you
in the
go to
evening.
bed.
Okay.
So I have these habits of drinking tea even before I go to sleep. I don't care if I wake up. I'm just like it's like a comfort thing.
Yeah, it is. It is the warm with the milk and the
Mhm.
little bit of okay, okay. That is wonderful. No, but your hydration is, I mean, you guys see how beautiful her skin is, right? Hydration makes a huge difference. I'm about to go drink some water right now. But this is definitely a wealth of information. When you are traveling as well, let's talk about some of the bad drinks or the drinks that we should stay away from, right? Let's talk about what can happen over Thanksgiving. What would you advise people to do, or how do they moderate, right?
So I think the first thing that's perhaps a bit controversial and challenging, but I think the medical literature is backing up, is alcohol. So previously, as physicians, we used to say, 1 to 2 glasses of wine, preferably red wine, is good for your heart. More recent research is saying that, yeah, zero alcohol is good
Zero
for
alcohol. Yeah.
yeah, there's a dose dependent response, even in terms of your risk of Alzheimer's or memory problems. So, even that 1 glass, it's not good for you at the end of the day. And the other thing, for those of you who are more like trying to improve your health and lose weight, alcohol is fairly calorie dense. It's very easy to drink a glass, another glass, and before you know it, you have consumed a lot of calories. And our body is very funny, very smart. You ate the broccoli, you ate the chicken, but if you drink alcohol, your body would rather burn the calories in the alcohol and store
Yeah.
the other stuff.
Exactly.
So it's going to put you backwards in terms of your weight loss journey if that's the journey you're on.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to tell everyone, abstain from alcohol completely. If you can, do it. More power to you. I
Yeah.
actually don't drink because it doesn't do anything for me. It just makes me sleepy. You heard all the coffee I drink. I have the opposite. I need,
Oh
I need the, I need the hype. I don't need the alcohol because I'm
no.
just talking to you.
Yeah. So that's great advice. So sometimes, like I did this time, I just made a decision, kind of cold turkey, no alcohol at all. I'm going till till 2025 and hopefully continue after that, because I noticed how much of a difference it made in terms of my energy level. I'm more energetic without the alcohol, especially when you drink you're having like that glass of wine in the evenings when you get home and then you're going to bed in an hour or so. Doesn't make sense, does not help. So I think that's really important. And then with the water, you found ways to make it, improve the taste, right? Because some people have an issue with the taste. So you're doing Crystal Light, but there are a lot of powdered options that you can add that are also a little bit healthier, let's say. And then you can also do just, you could put some ginger, some lemon in your water. You can throw in. I put in some frozen blueberries when it's a small amount, just for that taste, that additional taste. So there are many things that you can do to sort of uplift the taste of your water. But I think the best drink is water to stay hydrated throughout, and saying no to other things other than like herbal teas and things like that is probably the best option, right? This was such a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much. Now, I have one more question. If you were to travel with 3 snacks, like, this person is like, I just need my snacks while on my trip so that I have something that I can reach out to and I don't have to buy that $20 M&M on Southwest. No, it's not who sells the food. United. All of them do it, right? I don't want to have to buy that $20 or that fake hummus stuff on the plane. What are your 3 sort of like top-notch, healthy, energy boosting snacks that you recommend while traveling?
I love that question. Number one, I'm gonna have my collagen powder
Yes.
for me always. Probably almonds without salt.
Mm-hmm.
Blueberries.
Some fresh blueberries, have some that'll give you that sweetness, rich in antioxidants. Have the almonds for the protein and the fat, and then of course that water, because you just keep drinking and it fills you up and it has that little sweet taste to it. So that's perfect. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. This was a wealth of information, Dr. Lwanga. So good. I'm encouraging everyone, please follow her on her feeds, and we'll post that all in the comments. There's so much information. She doesn't know just about this. She knows about everything. She knows about everything. And it's really quite impressive. And she's a geriatrician too, right? So, wow. So amazing, amazing information. I'm so excited to share this with everyone. If you have questions, post it. Dr. Lwanga is in our natural gut relief group, so I'm sure she'll be able to answer some questions as you post them, and we will as well. My name is Dr. Vivian Asamoah. I'm an integrative functional gastroenterologist in Houston, Texas. And this was another episode of Back to Basics. And thank you so much for being with us. We'll leave you with the last words, Dr. Lwanga, please.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Vivian. Guys, if you have gut issues, even if you don't have gut issues, you just want to improve your overall health, please follow Dr. Vivian. If you're looking for a gastroenterologist, you're in the Houston area, please look her up. And I will try and find you guys in the Natural Gut Relief group. Even if I don't respond, please just message me and I'll try and say hello.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, guys. Bye-bye.